Hi, my name is Craig Schollenberger, and I'd like to take a minute to tell you about mindfulness-based stress reduction. Mindfulness is a tradition that is thousands of years old, but has been developed in this country by a man by the name of John Kabat-Zinn at the Stress Reduction Clinic at Massachusetts General Hospital. John was referred patients from other doctors at the hospital, patients who were dying, patients who were in chronic pain, patients who had cancer, and John was able to teach them mindfulness-based meditation and found actually that there were enormous benefits to this. So the other good thing about mindfulness-based stress reduction is that it requires no special equipment. You can sit or lie anywhere, take any amount of time you want, and takes very little training to get started. So this may be something that you might find interesting or beneficial. The number of papers that were initially published in the early 80s, there was a small handful. By 2007, they were averaging almost 50 academic papers being published per year on the medical benefits and emotional benefits of mindfulness-based stress reduction. And there is now, this year, has been published a clinical handbook on mindfulness that deals with how to treat people with post-traumatic stress disorder, eating disorders, addictions, depression, suicidality, anxiety, just to mention a few of the benefits that can be had from mindfulness-based stress reduction. The process of developing mindfulness in your life requires that you be able to sit or lie someplace where you're not likely to be disturbed for a select period of time. Some people like to think about this the way you would think about lifting weights. Certainly you would not start by bench pressing 500 pounds, nor would you start by practicing meditation several hours a day. Whatever seems reasonable to you is the best place to start. It may be 5 minutes, it may be 10 minutes. Probably is more important that you practice every day than that you practice a lot every day. Now, as you get started, the idea about mindfulness is paying attention to what's going on in the moment, and we do that by focusing on your breathing. Now, how that happens is you can pay attention to the rise and fall of your belly, which some people find beneficial, or the air as it travels in and out of your nostrils. This is another way that people focus on attending to the breath. Now, everybody's mind wanders at some point. I mean, if you have a brain, it's going to wander. And when it does, just notice where your mind has gone, what it has been attracted to, without labeling it or thinking too much about it. Just bring your mind back to your breathing and let the thought go, whatever it was. And as this happens again and again, just keep bringing your breath, your attention back to the breath. Going back to the weightlifting model, this actual process of noticing that your mind has wandered and bringing it back to the breath is much like doing repetitions with weights. So that the more you bring your mind back to the breath, the more likely your mind is able to stay focused and concentrated on your breathing. This will keep you rooted in the present moment. So there are enormous benefits to this. One of the things is people seem to notice pretty quickly their sleep quality improves. They also notice that they're able to think more clearly, that they're able to see things more objectively without distortion from your own emotional entanglement with the issue. Actually, your immune system is also strengthened considerably by spending time doing this, which is pretty amazing because essentially you're doing nothing. It's one of the most interesting things about this, that so much benefit can be derived by just sitting or lying still. Traditionally, mindfulness-based stress reduction is taught in an 8-week course where you would go to an instructor, and in that period of time what would happen is you would be given a set of instructions on how to do this, and then you would come back the next week and talk about your experiences, and then be given some additional skills, additional tools. And by the end of the 8th week, people generally tend to notice some improvement in their life to the point where they want to continue this, or they know if they want to continue it or not. So, do you have to go to training? No. Could you listen to what they call guided meditation tapes to move you along? Certainly. But you will begin to notice differences after a couple of weeks, actually, and changes in your thinking, changing in how you feel. As far as resources go, probably the primary text that has been around the longest is one called Full Catastrophe Living, which was written by Jon Kabat-Zinn. It was published in 1990 based on his work at the Stress Reduction Clinic that he founded in 1979. I think about 18,000 people have completed the 8-week course there in mindfulness-based stress reduction. So he has a lot of background, did a lot of research. There's a lot of information on how to practice as well as the benefits of practice. The other thing is that Dr. Zinn has a variety of tapes that are available for guided meditation. All of these things, of course, are available through popular local and internet resellers such as Amazon.com. One of the things that I have found through mindfulness-based stress reduction is I am able to sit and do that quietly, which has not only helped me personally in my relationships with other people, but also professionally, because as I'm sitting listening to a client, as a licensed clinical social worker, my mind is not wandering. My mind is not thinking about other things. It is 100% focused on the person that I'm working with at the time, which is a tremendous benefit to me and to my client. Other things, practice sitting in a chair, much like I am now. You can practice, some people practice sitting on a cushion on the floor. Some people practice laying down. So it doesn't really matter where you are. And as you do that, as I said before, you'll find that your mind will start to wander. And if and when it does, you gently bring your mind back to your breathing. And you keep doing this over and over for some period. Mindfulness has to do with being okay with whatever is. So if the thought comes to my mind, just like any other thought, I would notice it, and without objectively evaluating it or anything, just let it go. It seems that thoughts seem to stay with us when we try to block them, and then they get bottled up inside of us. But if we just allow them to be and pass through the thought, it will move. Emotions, thoughts are like water. If you allow it to, they will flow. Really the blessing of mindfulness, because you can let those thoughts pass through you and be okay with truly who you are right now, which is different than a lot of people who are in therapy or recovery or whatever else you would want to say. The emphasis is always on getting someplace. Once I do this, I'll be okay. Once I do this, I'll be healed. Once I do this, I'll be whole. The idea is truly profound to be able to accept yourself for who you are right now. And that is one of the things that mindfulness can do so well. Thank you. Goodbye.